Grace and peace to all of you from our Lord Jesus Christ this day. Second Sunday on my stewardship series on stewardship. And today we have this text about taxes. Death and taxes, as the joke goes, are inescapable. And Jesus is confronted with this question about paying taxes to the emperor, and the famous answer, give to God what's God's and to the emperors what emperors. And that seems an easy answer. It's easy enough for us because we don't struggle paying our taxes. Every time you buy anything here in New Jersey, almost 7% tax. Every time you go to the pump, it's 42.3 cents a gallon in tax. Just went 1 cent up early this month. And when you buy a house, God be with you, highest tax, property tax in the country. So the problem is not paying to the emperor what's the emperor. The problem is not paying your taxes to the emperor, to the government. The problem is not paying taxes. The problem is not giving to the emperor what's the emperor's. The problem is to give to God's what God's. That's the problem. That's the problem because a lot of us like to think that church is free. That you come to church and that's it. Church is free. And as I said to you last week, church is free, and you can enjoy and participate of all church activities for free. Church is free, but church is not cheap. And it costs money to run a church. It costs money to gather together. So church is free, but it's not cheap. Now, why should we give money to church in the first place? Why should we bring money to church? Why should we be preaching about stewardship? Why do we have to care about these things? All the people have money. All the people can, pick up the tab. Doesn't have to be me. And what I want to suggest to you this morning is that giving is an act of worship. That giving is a way of relating with your God. And that giving is an act of worship, but to use less churchy words, giving is an act of love. Because when we give, we're giving more than money. It's just not the dollar amount. When we give, we're saying something. When we give, we're saying something to those who are receiving. When we give, we're giving in a way that means something. Giving means gratitude. Giving means honor. Giving means love. When we give something, it means something to us that we are able to give that gift. Giving is gratitude. Giving is honor. Giving is love. At the end of the day, we give because we love. We all know the story of the man who found success, and the first thing he did was to buy a house for his mom. We have heard some version of this story. Today I would like to share the story of Mecole Hardman, a former University of Georgia wide receiver and now Kansas City Chief player. He says that he dreamed for 13 years to buy a house for his mom. He dreamt a beautiful dream. One day, in my own money, on my big first check, I'm going to buy a house to my mom. And I'm going to say to her, Mom, this house is for you. 13 years in the making until the day he was able to do it. With surprise revealed and everything, Mom was blindfolded And she got out of the car, and he said to her, Mom, look, I bought you this house. What are we saying what is he saying when he's buying the mama house? Is it just money, just picking up and writing a check? Are there meaning behind these words? Are there meaning behind this action? I want to say that yes. It's not just a house, it's not just money. The giving is gratitude. The giving is honor. The giving is love. You just bought a home to your own mom. In the book of Samuel, 2 Samuel, that's the Old Testament. 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 3 Samuel doesn't exist. 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, this story comes from the 2 Samuel book. King David wants to build an altar and offer sacrifice to God. So he's searching around for a place to buy land and get some animals for the sacrifice. A man who lived in that area hears what the king needs and said, King David, let me give you this land. Build your altar here. And look, I have animals. Choose whatever animals you want. I give it to you so you can give worship to your God, make your altar, and give him sacrifice. King David said, no, I'll not take that. I'm going to buy it from you. Why would he say no to a gift and insist on paying for the land and the animals? And I quote King David. King David refused the gift, and he says, no, I will buy them from you for a price, for I will not bring offerings to the Lord my God that cost me nothing. I cannot bring offerings to my God that cost me nothing. Because there is meaning behind the action that it cost you something. The meaning is gratitude. The meaning is honor. The meaning is love. I love you. This is my gift. It wasn't my neighbor who bought a house to my mom. I bought a house to my mom. It's not my neighbor who brought the offerings to the Lord my God. I brought my offerings to the Lord my God. When we give, we are not just giving money. Our money means something. It means gratitude. It means honor. It means love. In the gospel, as you know, even the poor widow who had almost nothing, she gave an offering to the temple, and according to the gospel, gave all she had, even though it was a small offering. So, that's a group of people who don't want to give anything. And I'm telling you, giving is an act of worship, an act of love. But there's a second group of people. The stewardship campaign knows them. It's the people who say, I will give, but I will not pledge. I give you money. When I see the plate, I'm going to give you an offering, but I will not pledge. Pledge campaign, no thank you. I give, but I will not pledge. According to stewardship consultants, and there's such a thing, according to stewardship consultants, people who say, I will give, but I will not pledge, what they're really saying is, I will give, but not much. Is that you? Why a pledge instead of just giving? Why commit to a pledge? Well, there is a story that I like about this woman who was in his church, at her church. They were doing a pledge campaign, and she said, okay, I pledge. Why not? I never pledged before, let me pledge now. I like the sermon series. Why not? Let's do it. And she went to her pastor, and she said to her, Pastor, here's my pledge for 2024, $240. And she added, it's $20 every time I come, and I come once a month. Is that okay? Pastor looked at her and said, if it represents you, yes, it is. If it represents me, if it represents me, and those words just started ringing in her head, represents me, let me take the pledge back. Following week, comes back to the pastor. She said to her, Pastor, here's my pledge. You're right, that pledge didn't represent me. This is a new one. I double it, she said. Now, it's $480 a month. I decided also to come to church twice a month. So it's $20 a month every time I come. Is that okay? Pastor answered, well, if it represents you, it is okay. Again, with the representation, what's going on with this lady? Does it represent me? Does it represent me? $480 a year. Does it represent me? Twice a month at church. Does it represent me? Let me take that pledge back. Following week, she shows up again to the pastor's office. Said, Pastor, I talked with my family. I prayed. I thought about what you said about a pledge that represents me and my family and my beliefs. And here is my pledge for 2024, and I do think it represents me and my family. First, we decided to come to church every Sunday. That's 52 weeks. At $20 a Sunday, that's $1,060. That's our pledge. Plus another 100. Another 100 for Ash Wednesday, Monday, Thursday, Good Friday, and the Christmas service. That's 5 more services. So it's $1,160. And we want to add another $20 for the Sunday school program. So it's a total of $1,180 for 2024. And Pastor, be assured, this pledge represents me and my family. Martin Luther used to say, we need to go through 3 conversions. First, the conversion of the heart. Second, the conversion of the mind. And lastly, the conversion of the wallet. Where are you? Are you in your mind? Are you in your heart? Are you in your wallet? Another fun story is back in the day when they were baptizing barbarians, back in the Roman Empire, the early stages of Christianity, they would just baptize masses of people, adult people, and they came to this tribe, a warrior tribe, and they came to this warrior king and said, well, we need to baptize you. But when you get baptized, you become a Christian, no more fighting. So you need to put your sword down. So please come and get in the water of baptism here in the lake. We're going to baptize you here at the lake. So the warrior king went in, sword in hand, and said, okay, I'm ready for baptism. Submerge me all the way except this arm. I want to give my sword here so I can be baptized and made new, but without my fighting hand. A modern interpretation is many of us who are baptized with one hand, with our wallet. So I'm a believer. I believe in Jesus Christ. I'm baptized in the Lord. Submerge me in the water of salvation, except this one hand with my credit card. I don't want that to be part of this new life. So here we are, pledge campaign, stewardship season, talking about money in a time where we are struggling, in a time when we as churches are struggling, in a time when you turn the television and every time someone says Christian is never for something good or uplifting. Here we are talking about stewardship in the midst of a time of struggle for the church after that perfect storm of COVID-19, racial reckoning, and deep political divide. And as you know, we live in a time where it seems that we cannot agree on anything. Here we are on a stewardship campaign asking for money in the midst of a church with empty pews. Here we are asking for money for pledges in a time where things are not the way they used to be. How's that? The words of the Apostle Paul that I shared last week with you, and you can see on the second lesson today, comes to mind. But we have this treasure in clays of jars, so that it may made clear that this extraordinary power belongs to God and does not come from us. We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed. We are still here. And by we, I don't only mean Good Shepherd Lutheran Church, but we, the church, is still here. We, the church, are still here, and as Chris said before, we're still here to talk about love your neighbor. We're still here to talk about love your enemies. We're still here to talk about love the Lord your God. So today, as your pastor, I'm asking you to join me to pledge for 2024 in your pledge card. And as the pledge card says, I pledge a 2024 stewardship gift of to worship, to bless, and to proclaim. Because that's what we're doing here, and that's the point of being together, to worship, to bless, and to proclaim that God is with us all the time. And that's who we are, and that's what we do. We worship, we bless, and we proclaim. And we worship in the most difficult of environments right now. Not only here at Good Shepherd, but also at the Home Depot parking lot that, as you know, we support. And more men are there on Sunday mornings. It's also difficult at Cranes Mill, the Lutheran nursing home that I go to once a month. They're struggling as well, and I was just talking with Krista Schurman, who is our social ministry head, that I'm doing now 2 services over there instead of 1 because they don't have enough people to lead those services. So when I go again on the first Sunday in December, I'll be doing the 2 o'clock service and the 3:30 service in assisted living after I get back from Weehawken. It's one of the hardest times to be church in our lifetime. And those of you older than I may remember growing up in the church with full pews and everybody was a Christian and everybody went to church on Sunday morning. That's not where we live now. And it's to us to carry on this treasure of faith, this treasure to worship, this treasure to bless others, and this treasure to proclaim. Dear church, it is Sunday, it is stewardship season, and you just heard the gospel. Give to Caesar what Caesar, gives to God what's God. You, my dear beloved, belong to God. You are God's children. You are the church of Jesus Christ the Lord. You are God's hands in this world. You are God's hands in this place. You are God's hands right here at Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. May your offering and my offering be a blessing to all those who come in contact with our ministry. Amen.